Hi everybody, welcome back to the Stone House. This is an extra video for me this week. What I'm going to share today came up in my regular videos a couple weeks ago. And what it was is I was using my old table saw here. I have a Powermatic 64A, which is a really nice, well-made table saw from the 90s. But one of the issues with it is it doesn't have any safety features whatsoever on it, which makes it rather unsafe. So with all that being said, I did some searching around on the internet for an aftermarket riving knife or aftermarket safety features in general, and I came across a company called Shark Guard. So on the website, it basically just gives you the phone number to the owner. His name's Ron, and it's like, just give me a call if you have a question. And I was like, okay. So I call it, and I think it was even a Sunday. I'm pretty sure it was Sunday, and answers, hello, and I was like, is this Ron? He's like, yep. It turns out that yes, Ron is the owner of the company, and yes, he just puts his cell phone number out there for you to call him directly if you have questions. And so I talked to him briefly, and I told him about my situation, and he knew right away, 100% man, I can 100% help you out. I make the guard for your table saw. So that was great. After that conversation, he sent me an invoice for the Shark Guard and some other things. I paid the invoice and then it was shipped to me. And that's what I've got today. I literally just got it in the mail today, and I'm pretty excited. As you can see, this blade has no riving knife, no splitter or anything. Technically, this saw did come with a splitter, and there is a spot to hook one up. And from what I understand, the factory splitters to these old table saws are so bad that they end up being more dangerous than good. And so a lot of people, like the past owner of this saw, took the splitter off. Every saw might be a little different. I'm basically showing you how this works on a Powermatic 64A. My saw always had this little bracket here, and if you can see right there, there's two bolts. The bracket is right here and the two bolts are right there. Okay, I'm just gonna get them loose and then do it like this. There we go. We're rocking and rolling now. There's the old bracket, and there's your new bracket. See, they're basically mirror images of themselves. Okay, we don't need to go crazy. So now that I've got this bolted into place and I've got the new riving knife attached, now you just want to make sure that everything is nice and in line. And if it's not, they do supply you with some really thin shims. And I'm thinking he knew that I would need these, but again, I don't know if I do, because that is perfect right there, if you can see. That is really good. So I'm gonna tighten things down and see how good it stays. Yeah, I mean, that is, can it be better than that is the question, and I just don't think it can be. To raise or lower it, all you do is flip this, which turns relatively easy. Just kind of like a little corner turn, and then you can wiggle it up or wiggle it down. See this? Pretty simple. Get it to where you want it, and then corner turn back up, and it gets nice and tight. And I have used a straight edge to set it, so we know that that's all good. Now I guess we pop on the rest of this stuff. Okay, fancy dancy. Well, that's incredibly intuitive. You know, sometimes you just want this up and out of your way. So if you bring it up and push it in and then set it down, you can just get it up and out of your way. But if you want to use it the way it's intended, you pull it towards you and you slide it into place. There is no play. Once you get it in there, it's in there. It's interesting. One thing that's really cool is there's a little hole right here in the top of the shark guard, and they supply you with a very nice light, and it fits perfectly in that hole. And I'll tell you, that's bright. That might be, wow, that's cool. It literally puts a light right where you'd want one. I don't think it ever hurts to have the tip of your blade always lit up really nice. And it's kind of genius because you can't just tie this into power, so it just makes sense to be like just a little, oh. This is for if you're having a rave and you want to use your table saw, you put it on rave mode. Right, so we got the new 1.5 inch dust collector in there. Not too bad. You have to take these 3 screws off. Very tight fit, but you wiggle. These are 3D printed. This is the first thing that I've ever touched in my life that's 3D printed. It's pretty cool. You can see every single little line. I wanted to show too, to take this thing off. You know, if you wanted it more than just up and out of your way like this, all you do is there's a little lever. I haven't done it yet. It's a little lever, then this lever, and then the whole thing comes off. That's pretty simple. And then to get it back on, it just goes in reverse. You kind of like snap on the one thing, snap on the other, you know, and then you're back in business. Now Ron sent me a couple other cool things, and I'm gonna, for one, a sticker. And yeah, we're gonna put a sticker on this. One thing that I just noticed that's really cool is when you're looking through the shark guard, you do see the blade, but everything is see-through. So I guess when I was putting the sticker on here, I'm sitting here saying, oh, I need to make sure that I can still see what's going on, and I can. The sticker's totally not in the way. But then I noticed, I looked through here. Now you might not be able to see on camera, but there's a piece of plastic right here. And that's there, I think, mostly to stop chunks of stuff flying at you. But what I noticed is that it kind of magnifies the blade. It's kind of cool. I bet you when you go to actually like cut a piece of wood, yeah, it magnifies the piece of wood and your cut. That's interesting. And I didn't know that was part of the gig here, but it is. So we got the nice straight down drop, which I think is important. And this is a very professional setup now. I mean, you know how it's professional is because there's zip ties tied to themselves to make a bigger zip tie. That's when you know you are next leveling it. And I figured because I already have a pole here, I'll just put the tube on the pole. I mean, seriously, level 300 IQ. A very important part of this is this. As you can see here, this old throat plate that came with my saw has a piece of steel right here. And the old throat plate, like, well, you can clearly see how it starts becoming an issue. So you have to buy a new throat plate. I was lucky. Ron came through again. He sent me a really nice throat plate here. Hopefully it's the same exact one. I'm gonna have to assume, and I'm not gonna doubt him by now. Ron knows what he's doing. So yes, this throat plate seems to be correct. Man, this makes it a lot safer. And you can see, and you have top dust collection, which is amazing. I'm gonna clean this stuff up. I don't think we need random pieces of metal all over the table saw, do we? Time for my final thoughts, maybe. Now, you're going to see this more in the future, because what I just noticed is my very first cut was extremely uncomfortable. My second cut was, My third cut was, hey, I like this. The fourth cut is, wow, this seems a lot better. And I'm not kidding. Every single cut seemed like I learned a little bit more of what to expect when using it. You know, when you have a tool like this and you use it often, you just kind of learn its quirks, and you work with it, you use it. So this thing is completely different from what I'm used to. That all being said, honestly, the things that it gives me outside of safety is what I really like about it. I really do like that I can't just, hit the blade now. I can't fall into the blade, I should say. I really like that. I like that it keeps pieces of wood from getting thrown back at me as far as the riving knife, but I also like that it can't throw little chunks of wood at me because it's completely enclosed. I love the dust collection. It works really well. The light, I mean, it's not needed, but it's such a nice little added bonus. It's just sweet. And if you don't want the light, I'm pretty sure you can just say I don't want the light, but I mean, get the light. And then, the fact that this magnifies your cut is just really cool. They've been making these for a long time, so they've got it figured out. 10 out of 10. Price, value, I would say again, is 10 out of 10, because there are some other ones of these on the market that are much more expensive. This setup completely, I think, would run you $300 or so. Now, to be totally open and honest, Ron gave me a little bit of a discount, which I'm extremely grateful on. I tried my hardest to actually just pay full value, full price, because I called him and I wanted to buy this thing. Wasn't expecting a deal, but we just started talking, and one thing led to another, and he offered me a discount, which is great. I really do appreciate that. Big thank you to Ron at Shark Guard. I'm serious. If you have an old table saw and you want to make it safer, this is a really good option. It's about 10 o'clock. But that's it. That's it. This was kind of a weird video to make. It wasn't super easy. I hope it turns out. But we'll see y'all later.